It was a short week for many of the NASCAR Busch Series and Nextel Cup trucks that had to get here from Michigan. They hustled their way into Bristol Motor Speedway. Yeah, everything happens in a hurry here on the high-banked concrete coliseum we call Bristol Motor Speedway. It is a late summer tradition under a full moon. NASCAR's Busch Series and Nextel Cup cars crank up the thunder of 800 horsepower stock car engines at the place we call Thunder Valley. It opened in 1961. There were just 18,000 seats here. Today, we can seat more than that in the restrooms. It's hosted 93 Nextel Cup races, and tonight, the 51st NASCAR Busch Series event. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, to give us the most famous words in all of racing, Bluegrass legend, Dr. Ralph Stanley.
Gentlemen, salute your engine.
Kids, go ahead and crank up. Crank them up. I think we got everything fixed up there. We'll get after it. Go get on edge. Guys, just like what we spoke about today. A little awkward, a little out of your rhythm, guys. Make sure all your equipment's ready to go. We need some nice, smooth, easy pit stops. Main focus is to not take ourselves out of something here today. I think we've got a great race car and a great opportunity to go out there and get a great finish today.
Engines have fired. Let's take a look at our starting grid. Jason Leffler picking up his second pole of the year and third of the year for Toyotas. He will lead him down alongside 19-year-old Brad Coleman. So looking for that elusive first win. Came so close to Kentucky, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. As you look at where your favorite driver is starting across the top of the screen, let's check in with our in-race reporter, the 1999 NASCAR Nextel Cup champion, driver of the UPS Centennial Toyota, starting 38th, Dale Jarrett.
Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us?
Got you, Rusty, loud and clear.
Dale, it's a brand new racetrack with a lot of grooves out there. First of all, what groove is the fastest one, and where are you going to pass on this place?
The crew jumped in right quick to talk to DJ. Remember, he does not run on a regular basis in the NASCAR Busch Series. Hasn't run in the Busch Series since Watkins Glen in 2005. So they had a few things they had to adjust on the car. They're getting the steering wheel while they check on DJ. Let's check in with the guy who will call the shots today for DJ, Randy Goss, the crew chief.
Hey, Randy Goss, Andy Petrie up here at ESPN. You got a copy?
Yeah, bud, I got you.
Hey, Randy, you've called a lot of races here at Bristol in different series. How much different or how similar are your setup and your notes for this race?
Everything's changing so much, there's not hardly anything the same anymore, but we think we got a good long run car, but we're just starting so far back, we're going to have to change up and try to get some track position.
What can you do with your strategy to try to get that, Randy?
Not sure, starting this far back, you come down pit road, it's hard to even get four tires on when the front guys do, so we're just going to have to wait and see, bud.
10-4, Randy. We're going to try to talk to Dale right here.
Dale, Rusty Wallace again. When you cut out on us a little bit a while ago, buddy, the question again was, it's a brand new track with many grooves out there. Which groove are you going to run mostly, and where do you think you can pass on the place at?
Rusty, I still think the fastest way around is around the bottom. If you can make your car work down there. I'm not sure. If somebody gets hooked up around the bottom, they could be pretty good. But you're going to see passing in the middle groove and I think at the top before this is over. This should be a very interesting race for the race fans.
Okay, Dale, we'll be talking to you later on. Have a good race, buddy.
I got it.
Dale Jarrett making his first Busch start since the end of the 2005 season. Well, what should we be watching for here tonight? To explain, let's head down to the pits. First, here's Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, short tracks mean short tempers. You add in the fact that it's 95 degrees, hot and humid, and that mixed together makes the best ticket in NASCAR, the hottest ticket right here at Bristol. Some of these drivers are double-duty drivers. They've already turned over 250 laps today. That's as much as a race. So these guys are going to be fighting fatigue. So the moral of the story, the guy who has the most patience and the best fitness will prevail at the end of the race. Mike?
Jamie, aside from being conditioned addition, drivers need to be mentally ready to mix it up. A passing technique synonymous with Bristol is the bump and run, but as common as it is, it's just as controversial. There's a fine line between moving a driver out of way and simply punting him. The reconfiguration of the racetrack may limit the number of bump and run moves we see this afternoon, but at the end of the race, don't expect any of these drivers to be afraid to use their front bumper. Dave?
Mike, one more thing to watch for tonight. Mistakes on pit road. Remember, this is an oddly shaped pit road here at Bristol. They've got a front stretch part and they've got a back stretch part. There are 1,000 mistakes the crew can make on pit road. They will try to not make any. There's a few mistakes a driver can make, and the worst one here will be speeding. As you go around the corners on each end of this pit road, the scoring loops end up more like a pie shape, and it's very easy to speed if you're not careful. The drivers will have to watch that because even here at Bristol, track position, very, very important, and you don't want to give it up on pit road. Doc?
One thing we've got here, we got these two pit roads, and it's going to be kind of confusing for these drivers because under caution, these guys will enter on turn 2, and they'll go down the back straightaway and pit, and they have to stay right on the apron and come all the way around and then exit out the front stretch. So all the cars have to go in and out in turn 2. Now under green, these guys can come in. If they're pitted on the back stretch, they can come in here and go right back out on the track. Same thing on the front stretch. They come right in here. They come out right out on the track. And if they forget that and they try to go down both pit roads, it can cost them a ton of time under green here.
Oh, we've seen a lot of guys do that too, Andy. They'll think about the difference between, they'll forget about the difference between green flag and caution flags. And many times on a green flag, you'll see them go all the way around the racetrack, and boy, does that kill them.
And remember, they got to get down to 30 miles an hour to get on pit road. Now, we'll be riding along with 8 high-definition onboard cameras tonight. The 7 car, the Geico Chevy of Mike Wallace, starts 31st. Brad Coleman starts 2nd in the Carino's Italian Grill Chevrolet. David Gilliland 37th at FreeCreditReport.com Ford. Jamie McMurray will start 30th in the Aflac Ford. Kevin Harvick will start 6th in the Road Loans Chevy. We've already talked about Dale Jarrett, who starts back in 38th. Bobby Labonte starts 22nd, the Dollar General Chevrolet. And David Rudeman starts 10th in the Aaron's Dream Machine Toyota. It is 250 laps on a very high, 3-story high concrete half mile in Bristol, Tennessee. It is one of the hottest tickets in NASCAR. This is one of the most anticipated weekends in all of NASCAR racing. The Busch cars on Friday night and the NASCAR Nextel Cup cars on Saturday night. The pit window, there will be lots of pushing and shoving. That's how far you could go on fuel. I don't think anyone will make it that far without having to come on the pit road and get something bent, straightened, or pulled out or pulled away. It's going to be that kind of night here at Bristol, Tennessee.
But Jerry, you saw a little while ago in our presentations, in 24 to 30 degrees of banking. Nowhere in the country is there a racetrack that has a parabolic shaping like this track does. It's not just one groove, and they're going to be able to run on the bottom, the middle, and the top. But here's the big story. We still don't know where you need to run on the track to be the fastest, and that's what these drivers will be looking at.
Stop number 26 of 35 on the $50 million tour. Glad to have you with us. We invite you to sit back and enjoy 250 laps of full contact stock car racing, Bristol Motor Speedway style. We call it Thunder Valley, and you're going to understand in just a moment why it got that name. Pace car pulls away, and Jason Leffler will lead him down. Just that fast they turn this half-mile racetrack. 15-second laps at 120 miles an hour, and it gets heavy in a hurry here with lots of traffic early on.
Well, Jerry, already I've seen cars running side by side. We've never seen that ever here at Bristol this early. These guys are making passes on the outside, and they're making passes on the inside, and each lane seems like it's just as fast as each other.
Yeah, we see Greg Biffle passing this 70 car, Mark Green, on the outside. We see Matt Kenseth coming with him. Usually we see these guys just fighting for the bottom of the racetrack.
The big thing the spotters will say, get me down. They'll be talking to their drivers, and drivers will say, spotter, get me to the bottom of the track. I can't run up here. But here, they don't really care.
Here's Matt Kenseth going around Greg Biffle on the outside.
Matt Kenseth won this race last August, a 3-time winner here. Always likes to run up high as he's trying to make his way to the front. Jason Leffler, by the way, had never led a lap in 8 attempts here at Bristol until tonight.
The guys, I want to see the 2 different lines these guys are on. Take a look at Jason Leffler, pole sitter, right on the bottom, and Jeff Burton already getting comfortable with the top of the racetrack and getting a big run off the track.
One of the reasons he's comfortable up there is he ran the whole happy hour session in the Cup Series on this high groove right here. He worked that groove the entire practice.
Well,
he's committed to it.
One thing I want to look at as this thing gets going on, are they going to get a big run off the corners and pass them in the straightaways? We'll find out later. Dave?
Rusty, final practice for Nextel Cup ended just before this race started, and Jeff Burton took his Nextel Cup car to the high line most of the end of that session. I asked his crew chief for this race, Pat Smith, is he going to run the high line tonight in your Busch car? He said, you know what? He was comfortable in the car, and I know that means he can run it either line. We see what Jeff has chosen.
Great action back in the pack as well, Dave. This battle for 14th, 15th, and 16th, the 5 car of Kyle Busch. But the action up front's the 88 of Brad Keselowski and Marcus Ambrose.
Look at Kyle Busch going to the outside of the 88 car here.
You can see they're just trying different lines. I mean, they don't have to root themselves past people. They don't have to put a bumper to them. And I know the fans like seeing that stuff, and trust me, you get enough of that later on. I just got to believe that's going to happen, guys. But take a look at the 5 car of Kyle Busch on the top of the racetrack. And Marcus Ambrose just gets a bang in the back from the 88 car, and there's enough room here they can get away with that stuff right now.
There's racing all over the racetrack. Here we got Jeff Burton working the outside now, trying to get up to Jason Leffler. Jason Leffler's car is really hitting the racetrack hard. We see a lot of sparks flying out from under on that bottom groove.
Unbelievable. We see 2 distinct grooves, and both are working here. Can you imagine all the years you raced here and won 9 times, you'd be able to run up and high and in the middle and on the bottom of this racetrack?
Well, you know, Jerry, before you had to get your car working on the bottom of the racetrack. But, you know, Jeff Burton, he's searching right now. He's working the top. He's driving real deep into the corners, and then he went back to the bottom just a little while ago. Why did he do it? Because he wanted to try what's going on. Now he's not comfortable there. He's moving back to the top. And right now, I got to believe he's pretty loose, and he doesn't have the car he needs right now, guys.
He's hanging in there pretty good, though, and they're catching these lap cars, and I think that's what Jeff's been planning on. When they catch these lap cars, that outside groove's going to look really good.
In just 13 laps, they have now caught the back of the field here in lap traffic and began to move in on some heavy traffic. And now's where the real skill comes in for these drivers.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of skill going to happen now. And here's one big thing I've noticed already in the race, guys. If you run up on somebody, you don't have to follow them. You just change lanes. If they're in the middle, go to the 3rd lane. If they're in the top, shoot down to the bottom. These guys aren't getting held up. And look what just happened to the 29 of Jeff Burton. He said, see you later, dude. I'm going to a different lane.
Jeff Burton used the high line as Leffler got caught in behind a slower car. Burton takes the lead here on lap 15. 15 of 250 laps complete. Back with more Busch Series from Bristol in just a moment. Back at Bristol Motor Speedway under caution for the first time tonight, coming out on lap 16. An incident in the turns involving the 7 car of Mike Wallace. I'll show you what happened a moment ago. Now look at the far right of your screen in the turn.
And it looks like Mike just got in the corner, lost some grip, and spun it around, but it doesn't look like he's got much damage. The left front fender beat in just a little bit. I believe he's going to be fine. Let's take a look here from this back camera shot. Just got loose and lost the car, but he did a good job staying in the throttle and keeping the nose out of the wall.
Gas. All right, let's go.
Get a little help from the spotter there.
Several guys came in for quick stops. DJ Kennington was the lucky dog, got back on the lead lap. That'll put us now with 40 cars back on the lead lap. Mike Wallace a lap down. Morgan Shepherd off in the garage area. There's our Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass Award winner, as the pace car is in front of Jeff Burton, who has now led for 7 laps. Burton trying to get his 2nd career win at Bristol. Pace car pulls away, and we'll head back to the green flag here on lap number 21. Bristol, Tennessee. Jeff Burton, the leader. Jason Leffler is second. The youngster, Brett Coleman, is third. Good run for Stephen Wallace, who just turned 20 a week ago. He set on the pole here back in the spring, led the first 32 laps. Let's listen in on some communications with Stephen Wallace and his spotter, Uncle Kenny Wallace.
Stephen, you have to race the racetrack. You cannot race other cars, because once you start racing other cars, then you wreck. So you just got to go like hell and give away to guys that are all over you, and then go like hell again. Okay, a lot of people are starting the high side. A lot of good drivers are starting to run the high side, Stephen. Just letting you know.
Well, you can see right now that he listened to Kenny. Ryan Newman got right on his bumper and Stephen gave way, but look, he wants to win this race too, so he's going to listen a little bit what Kenny's got to say, and he's going to give his car what his car is going to take. He's had a lot of conversation with his spotter, had a lot of conversation with me too, and I believe he's listening. Dave?
Absolutely right, Rusty. He did listen, because Newman was one of those cars. He was told, if he's right on your bumper at the start of this thing, let him go. That's what he did.
It sounded like Kenny's telling him to attack the racetrack, not the other competitors, and just try to race the racetrack.
Well, Kenny's used to people talking about Darlington, South Carolina, where you really got to be careful out there. You just got to race the track, try to not race other guys, and that's where that terminology came from. And Stephen right now is probably going to start hunting different lanes, the middle groove, the top groove, to see where his car feels the best at.
We see some of the best cars running that high groove. Here goes Greg Biffle around on the outside.
Riding along with David Rudiman, his Toyota on the inside of Biffle. And you see Stephen Wallace is up there. Mike Bliss and Stephen Wallace. That's Bliss in the 22 car.
Now, Jerry, one thing I believe might happen at this race, which we haven't seen here a long time, is that the cars are running side by side, going at the corners, and pretty well all through the corners. And I believe what's going to happen is that this aero loose is going to kick in, where the guy in the bottom will lose his downforce. And I think we're going to see some spin-outs because of that. You saw the 22 laying against the left side of Steve Wallace. The 22 could get very loose doing stuff like that under his new track conditions.
And here comes the 5-car, Kyle Busch. He's trying to get in the mix here. And these guys running side by side does present some other issues for the, for the cars in the setup, because they've never been able to really do that here. I mean, you've seen them run side by side maybe for a corner, but not lap after lap like we're seeing here. Mike?
Well, Andy, when you talk to people in the garage this afternoon, the one number that kept coming up as the guy to beat was the 5-car of Kyle Busch. One driver actually told me that he was on a planet all by himself. Remarkably, though, during practice, he was not going for speed. He was actually experimenting, exploring the lines of the racetrack, trying the high line, middle line, bottom line, trying to find out exactly where his car works best. He feels like he's got a pretty good race car, and from what I heard in the garage this afternoon, everybody else is afraid of him, too.
Well, some things don't change. They may have changed the whole racetrack, but Kyle Busch was the guy to beat here in the spring, and here he is on a new surface, and he's still the guy to beat.
Kyle Busch started back in 20th spot. We're talking about the 5-car now for Kyle Busch.
Three wide, let off.
Great spotting from Uncle Kenny, trying to get the youngster to understand 3 wide isn't going to work very often.
No, it's not going to work good at all. Right now, Stevens' car is just a little bit loose right now. He just needs to hold on to it.
One more go by. The 5 is on your corner. As soon as he gets by, we have room. Okay, we're good to go now, Stephen. Let him go.
Well, that's smart driving. That's very good, and good smart spotting too. But we just found out one thing. Can you run 3 right? Yeah, you can. You saw Greg Biffle trying to work the 3rd lane out there. It's because the top banking angle is up to 30 degrees now. A lot of angle to lean on to make these passes, to get that grip off the corner, and that's what they're doing.
Battle for 7th position, the 5-car of Kyle Busch. We mentioned he started back in 20th spot. Talked about the great run he had early in the year. He led 89 laps here in March. And Kyle Busch is marching toward the front. Speaking of the front, here is a 29 car of Jeff Burton, who has now led the last 23 consecutive laps. That's been the separation between Burton and the Toyota of Jason Leffler. Still in the early laps at Bristol Motor Speedway. NASCAR Busch Series action here at Bristol. Back in just a moment.
Bristol Motor Speedway, the NASCAR Busch Series just underway. Tonight for 250 laps, Jeff Burton took the lead from Jason Leffler at lap 14, and those two continuing to march their way through some very heavy traffic. Now, a guy you thought might be a contender is on a little different plan right now.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick seems to be struggling. He's mired back in the back of the field and made a quick pit stop, but I wonder if he's having some problems with that race car.
Was that pit stop earlier planned, or was it unplanned for an ill-handling car? Jamie, what are they saying?
Well, Alan, that certainly wasn't planned for Kevin Harvick. He's in his own car for just the 5th time this year. Those opening laps, though, you know, he qualified 6th. He came over the radio and said, guys, I am far too loose. I am coming in. He came in. They went down 2 rounds on that track bar, and they pulled out 2 spring rubbers. Just to give you an idea how loose he was, that cost him quite a few positions as he went back to about 35th place as he continues to work his way forward. Alan?
Yeah, so Harvick only back up to 28th and in danger of going a lap down with a lot of other guys right now. Little challenge for the lead, Doc. And a caution out.
Right into it.
Second caution flag of the night, and again it's Mike Wallace spinning, this time off of turn 4.
That time it looks like he got a little help. I believe the 24 car.
Hell of a night. We just got wrecked off of 4 there. Left side got into the wall.
Close call on the leader, too, with Jeff Burton just squeezing by there.
We're going to need some hammers and some of that, bear behind there.
Let's take a look at the onboard camera. The 24 car. Casey Mears just gets in the left rear quarter panel on Mike Wallace and into the wall. So, boy, that's hard to take early in this race. Mike is up high in the racetrack, and it looks like Mears actually come up and got into his left rear quarter panel. Maybe Casey's front end took off on him. Maybe he got into a big push. Maybe got a little impatient and picked the throttle up too early and got in his quarter panel. That's probably what happened.
See Jeff Burton just skirting by there.
Yeah, Burton had already lapped a couple of the contenders. He just got by Scott Wimmer, Danny O'Quinn, Dale Jarrett. He put some of those guys a lap down. In fact, only 31 cars now on the lead lap.
And we see some strategy being played out here. We got Jeff Burton coming down pit road. Jason Leffler stayed out. So we see a lot of the leaders in, but some of them are staying out on the racetrack for track position.
Let's go to Mike.
And Brad Coleman a little bit free on exit. No major changes planned. 4 tires and fuel for the 18 car. He's down and away. Dave?
The 29 of Jeff Burton gave up the lead to come down pit road. His car was a little bit tight in the center of the corner. They will take on 4 tires, slight air pressure adjustment, and full of fuel.
Others coming down pit road 30 miles an hour. It seems like an eternity before these cars can get back on the racetrack, but you can't ill afford to speed here and have to come all the way back in off of turn 2.
You know, I believe the drivers feel a little bit more comfortable about pitting early because they know they're not getting marred in traffic. They can go to the top lane, middle lane, or bottom and not get held up. Before, you would want to stay in the racetrack for that track position, but now I'm noticing they feel more comfortable because they don't feel like they're getting blocked in because of this new track.
And now is a good time to experiment with that because it's still early in the race. We see Kevin Harvick here in the pits. This is his second stop of the night.
Kevin Harvick has already been on pit road. Let's watch the crew cam. This is front tire carrier Jeffrey Roth out of Washington, Georgia. He lays the tire up there. The tire changer puts the lug nuts on. And Kevin Harvick, the 4-time winner, trying to hustle off of pit road and get back in the fray here at Bristol. Welcome back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Great views from 8 different high-definition onboard cameras. Action all over this racetrack.
Oh, this is incredible. Watching Jeff Burton work the top side. You see all these guys. This racetrack's never been this racy.
Mike Wallace still having issues. He is on pit road. You see him slowing down at 30 miles an hour in the Geico Chevy. He has already spun twice. And Rusty, he had a handful here in traffic just a moment ago.
Yeah, he really did, Jerry. He got hit in the left rear quarter panel by the 24 of Casey Mears and spun the car around. And now the aerodynamics is so messed up on the car, they just won't stick to the racetrack. So Mike's doing the smart thing by getting in and working on it.
Watch this 29 car Jeff Burton. He's been working the top side of that racetrack. He's been all the way up against the wall, 2 wide, 3 wide, passing these guys.
Now he's the first guy back out on 4 tires, so it could be interesting to see how 4 tires does, how much grip it gives him, or does it give you much at all. It looks like it's working great for him now, and he looks like he's Darlington, South Carolina, Andy. Right up against the wall, wide open, a lot of momentum off the corner.
when you make a pit stop before on this track and you go back to 10th, 12th place, it'd take forever to get up through there. Burton is just busting around these guys on the outside.
That says so much about how great this new concrete surface here is at Bristol. The drivers in Busch Series and Nextel Cup raving about the ability to pass and run up high. Sort of reminiscent of the old days when this track was asphalt.
When I used to race here, Jerry, I loved coming to this racetrack because I had a good setup. But now, a lot of guys didn't like it, but now they all love it.
Check this out. Jeff Burton's faster in traffic than the leader last lap.
Kevin Harvick, who's been on pit road twice. That's him in the 33 car, driving his own car here in Bristol. Remember, he's a four-time winner here, trying to set the all-time record for wins, but he's been struggling early on.
Well, he's been struggling early on, but don't count him out. He's the driver who knows what he needs at a track like this, and he's taking advantage of these pit stops right now to tighten that car up, adjust his air pressure, and get what he needs, because he knows the way he started the race was far too loose, and he wasn't going to win like that.
When the caution came out a few laps ago, Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick both were in danger of being lapped by Jeff Burton. Edwards, there's the 60 car. He also was struggling early on, and he's back in 27th position.
He's still struggling. We see him right here working the top side of the racetrack, but he's not making any headway like Jeff Burton. We can see him actually going backwards right here. Dave?
Guys, the 60 car of Carl Edwards has been tight through the middle of the corner. Carl's words during the last run, "I'm doing all I can." And what might have hurt these guys was Carl didn't get to run the test here on July 14th. He had hurt his thumb earlier on the week before at a dirt race out in Iowa, and he was unable to do the test. Travis Quapple tested this car, and Pierre Cattell, the crew chief, said, unfortunately, it just didn't provide us the kind of data we needed.
Here's a good example, though. Carl Edwards was working the top side and wasn't going anywhere. He moved to the bottom and started making his car work better. So it just gives these guys a lot of options.
And it gives them time to search around the racetrack and try to find grip. That's what they're trying to find. Where does my car stick the very best? And we saw last week when Denny Hamlin was working the top and the middle and bottom in our Busch race in Michigan. Well, he won that race. It took him a long time to figure out where he needed to run, but he honed in on the top of the track. And that's what all these drivers are doing right now. Where can I run the best at?
That car, I guess, will just tell you where it wants to be, doesn't it? Is it just one of those deals where you try the top, you try the bottom, and the car just tells you where it wants to run?
Andy, a lot of times you'll drive in right on the bottom of the track, and you'll turn the wheels in the front end, it'll chatter, it'll slide on you. But then you'll move up a lane, and that'll go away, and you go, hey, I like that a lot better, so we'll try that for a while.
You don't think they run very fast on a half-mile track? Take a look at David Gilliland's onboard telemetry now. Watch the speed here in a straightaway. They averaged 120 miles per hour in qualifying. Now, how about in race traffic? What can they run?
And keep in mind, this is a half-mile racetrack. This is a real short track, and these guys are flying around here.
Folks, you're used to hearing us talk about 200-mile-an-hour speeds at Michigan, Daytona, a place like that. But 127 miles an hour in traffic on a little tiny track, these guys are getting it, trust me.
High above, and there's trouble in the corner over in turn 4, and it's the 29 car of Burton involved, trying to go around some of the lap cars. Has had contact, and he has got some heavy damage. He and the 0 car of Eric McClure have come together.
Front blue getting into 3. Is the driver over there at all?
I heard somebody say the right front blue getting into 3. I think that was Burton, but boy, this is too bad.
Boy, Andy, the right front's blown out of the 0 car. Now, I know we've hit the wall real hard, but
the 0 car blew the tire, I see.
We'll have to go back to the replay and take a look at what happened, but maybe that high lane that the 29 was working went against him.
Hood up on the 17 car of Matt Kenseth, who won this race a year ago. He's been awfully good here, and they're in there. What are they doing under the hood, Andy? They're looking at a lot of different. Just a moment, we'll get back and show you the damage here on the Jeff Burton car. Obviously, the class of the field thus far tonight, and there's the right front they were talking about on Eric McClure's car. Let's watch and see what happened over here just a moment ago, entering turn 3. There's the damage on the right, the damaged 0 car.
Oh, he just blows that right front, and Burton was already committed to the outside.
That's just the racetrack. You know, the racetrack's been so good, and Jeff's been running the top of the track, and he committed to the top. And I'll be son of a gun if the 0 doesn't blow a tire and take him with him. And that is just bad racing luck right there.
That is just bad luck. That's one of the, I guess, one of the negatives of running the top side of the racetrack. Everything's going to go up there, and if you're outside of one of these guys, will have a problem.
Well, the old racetrack, he'd be on the bottom of the track. That wouldn't have happened, but this time it happened. So Bad luck, yeah. I'm sticking with my story on that one, okay?
Well, the other drivers that did not pit, like Jason Leffler, are on pit road right now. Jamie?
Well, this worked out for him, guys. He stayed out the last time everyone else pitted. He needed tires the way she talked about. He was going backwards. No adjustments. The cars come around as the track is cooled down. More tires and fuel. Your leader is out and away.
Casey Mears into the 24 car getting service. Paying tribute to the 278th Armored Cavalry Regiment here for the National Guard in Tennessee, based nearby in Knoxville. There's the damaged 29 car and probably a very frustrated Jeff Burton. But Rusty, realistically, when you're a driver and you're going around someone and something like that happens, you know, what do you say? What can you do?
Jerry, you just can't do anything whatsoever. There he is, Jeff Burton, minding his own business, 4 new tires, making himself back up to the front, and a guy blows a right front tire right in front of you. It just doesn't happen. You can't do nothing. You
can't get mad at anybody. You can't point any fingers. It's just bad luck.
Let's watch another onboard from the 99 car. Rear bumpers flying everywhere, stuff getting tore up.
David Rudeman's onboard camera. Watch right side of your screen now. Watch this hit. Oh.
Jeff can go back to his bus at the end of the day and say, you know, it just wasn't my day, because I had a great car. My pit crew prepared a great car, and that was just not what we needed, and that was bad luck. So they can chalk it up to just that.
And that will give the 21 car, the Aaron's Lucky Dog, free pass. He was at first driver 1 lap down and now gets back on the lead lap. But ejected Jeff Burton, who led twice for 37 laps and now has a heavily damaged Chevy in the garage. Back at Bristol Motor Speedway under caution for the 3rd time. Let's check in where Dave is caught up with Jeff Burton.
As his crew continues to try to repair the 29 car, Jeff, talk about the 0 car just coming out of nowhere there.
Well, I think he had a problem. I mean, I saw a replay, and it looked like a bunch of sparks flew out underneath the car. And I went in a corner, and I was trying to pass a lead lap car, and I decided just to check up a little bit. But I think the 0 had a problem. He just went straight. I don't think he did anything wrong. I don't think I did anything wrong. Just wrong place at the wrong time. And all day his Chevrolet was smoking fast. A lot of fun to drive. Felt like Harry Gann up here on that outside groove. It was a lot of fun. Maybe we can go get him tomorrow.
All right, Jeff Burton out early here. They are going to try to repair this car, guys. Get him back out for some more laps because of the Owners' Championship. Don't forget.
Great point, Dave. They want to get that car back on the racetrack because they were leading the owners' points by 40 over the Roush Fenway. Here comes Kyle Busch leading down the restart. Carl Edwards had restarted back in 10th position. That's the team. That's the driver who leads the drivers' points and is second in the owners' points. We'll keep an eye on that 60 car and also when they can get the 29 back on the racetrack.
Now, I want to take a look at the 38 car Leffler here in a little bit. He beat everybody out of the pits. He was the one out there leading this race. I want to see what these 4 tires are going to do. Are the tires really going to help him so he can get through the front of the pack? He's working the top side right now, and outside of David Reagan. Looks like he's got a lot of grip. In the old track, these guys got held up. They couldn't make the passes like they're making right now.
Looks like a super speedway the way you get in that high groove and just sail by people. Leffler was 15th, 14th, 13th, and now 12th position. And looking to get the 11th spot, he just takes the 11th spot away.
The Kyle Busch cars looks really good right now. He's in that clean air. He's got a lot of grip. He's nobody maneuvered. He's looking great out there.
And he has yet to make a pit stop. We've run 88 laps, and he has not made a pit stop yet. These other guys have been on pit road. Every other car has been on pit road at least once.
No, Andy, as a crew chief, wouldn't you be getting nervous about that? I mean, I know they made this call, but doesn't he risk if this thing goes caution-free right now for a little bit of a time, he might have to pit and lose a lap because of doing that?
Well, I don't think the chances of it going caution-free are all that good, but if it does, he would be in big trouble.
Battle for 5th position. Bobby Hamilton, the junior, the veteran, trying to get underneath the 19-year-old. He just makes the pass on Brad Coleman.
It's good to see Bobby Hamilton Jr. running strong up front, top 5. Looks like he's going the right way, too. He's going forward.
The thing I notice right now, the cars just don't look nervous out there. I don't see everybody jumping all over the racetrack and a lot of beating and banging. It's fun racing because they're changing the lead so many times, and maybe not the lead, but they're changing back in the pack and a lot of passing going on.
Bobby Labonte's onboard camera. Bobby, of course, the former Busch Series and Cup champion and a former winner here, having a good run early on in the 77 car.
car looks really good on the bottom side of the racetrack. And these veteran drivers just seem to have a knack for this racetrack of really how to stay out of trouble and put themselves in position to win up here.
You know, I was talking to some of the crew chiefs down there, and the track is smoother now. It doesn't have that big bumps like it used to have. And I'm hearing that they're running the front springs much softer. The front of the car is a lot lower. More like they would do like a Michigan or tracks like that where they can get it way down.
Well, the track used to have these abrupt transitions getting into the banking, and the car would basically just land into the banking. You don't see that now. It's just a nice smooth transition. The cars just pick it up real nice and gradually. And so it makes the cars really handle a lot better. And that's why you're able to see these cars, you know, running 2 and 3 wide.
Ryan Newman in the 12 car driving the Penske machine. In the 20 car right there, these guys are battling for position on the racetrack. That's for 9th spot. Eric Almirola, who will be moving full-time from Joe Gibbs to DEI in 2008. As they are side by side in front of them, these guys trying to move up in position. That again is for the 9th spot.
Ryan Newman's car looks pretty good, whether he's on the top side of the racetrack on the outside or on the bottom. He's able to pass them high and low. Here he's really hooking the car around the bottom.
'16 car, by the way, is Travis Quapple. That's normally been Todd Cleaver, so Quapple driving the car for Jack Roush here tonight. The 5 car, the one they're chasing, Kyle Busch.
You know, I was talking earlier about how these noses settle down in the corner. 25 car around. Big crash. David Gillian. Looks like the car just got loose.
I saw the left rear tire went flat. I saw it right as you were talking there. I just happened to notice going in that corner, that tire was on the rim.
I was just getting ready to talk about how Kyle Busch is.
Must have blown on the straightaway.
Just getting ready to talk about how Kyle Busch's car is running so low to the ground in the center of the corner, and while watching his nose, the left rear blows out in that 25. Now that was one incredible shot right there.
Yeah, I just caught a glimpse of that. The car went in the corner.
Contact with the back of that Ford has shortened it up quite a bit, and David Gilliland will try to get it on the pit road here and bring out caution number 4.
9 times out of 10, a left rear flat like that is from contact on the racetrack from another car. So he probably got up against somebody. Maybe knock that valve stem loose or cut that tire down.
Let's see if we can see some contact with the 25 car. Wouldn't be unusual here at Bristol. There he is entering the corner.
You can see all the letters were already rubbed off the tire, like they had some contact maybe with those side-by-side racing they were doing just before this. This is from David Rudiman's car. You can see he just goes in the corner. When that tire's flat, there's nothing you can do as a wrestler.
Go low, all clear, good job.
And Andy, that's a direct giveaway what you just said. When a car comes by and all the yellow Goodyears are rubbed off of it, he has definitely run against somebody. And these valve stems on these cars, they keep the air in it. Take a look now. There's no Goodyear whatsoever on that. So he had a violent impact with somebody to rub all the letters off the side of that car and probably got into that valve stem that gets knocked off that lets all the air out. It looks like that's what happened.
And now we got Kyle Busch finally making his pit stop.
So I asked you, when's he going to pit? We know now, don't we?
Let's go down to Mike.
And this is Kyle Busch's first stop of the night. On a scale of 1 to 10, he says it's a level 4 tight. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, a fairly significant one. 3 turns on the left side, 4 tire change in fuel for Kyle Busch. He's up on the jack as the team goes to work on the left side right now. He's down and away, guys.
He's going to have to go to work when he gets back out on the racetrack now because he doesn't have that track position he had earlier. And be fighting some of these lap cars too. Dave?
The problem for Carl Edwards on that last run was how the car was at the very beginning of the run. It had been a little hard to turn through the middle of the corner, but at the beginning of that last run, they over-adjusted just a little bit. It was very loose, Carl said, so due to air pressure adjustment to get it back down to where it can be more balanced. Jamie?
Guys, Kevin Harvick continues to struggle in his own car in that 33. Remember last week, Tony Stewart was in this car, really struggled. They did 6 rounds down on the track bar. Well, they're having the same issues on the 33 now. They keep making these track bar adjustments. It's just not making the car better. They made another adjustment, and he's away.
Major adjustments for Kevin Harvick on the track bar. You heard a moment ago, 3 rounds of wedge in the 5 car for Kyle Busch. We're under caution at Bristol. When we come back, we'll take back to the green flag. David Rudiman leads here at Bristol. We welcome you back to Bristol Motor Speedway. Just green a moment ago, and David Rudiman is setting sail, and his Toyota has not led this year in since Gateway about a month ago, and is being shown at the front of the field here with the 88 car of Brad Keselowski in hot pursuit.
Got a pretty good jump on Brad Keselowski here. But I like what I'm seeing out of that 88 car. This car's handling pretty well, and he's been searching all over the racetrack here for grooves. So this car looks good.
Well, if you're just tuning in, I can tell you this racetrack is fantastic. The drivers are loving it. And we're watching this race, and they're running the bottom, middle, and top. And there are a lot of drivers trying to figure out where to run. They're a little bit lost on the track, trying to find out what works best for their in particular car.
5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th right here on the screen. The 12 car of Ryan Newman. The 37 is Biffle. 77 now, Bobby Labonte losing a couple of spots.
Well, some of these guys, like Bobby Labonte, has got about 20 more laps on his tires than some of these guys around him. So we are seeing that tires are worth something.
Tires are definitely worth something, that's for sure. So would you like to have 4 new ones or 4 used ones here at Bristol? You want the new ones, that's for sure. You know, another thing I'm noticing out here, though, you can't stand a loose race car. Everybody that we're seeing that's loose is really can't run fast. So, and generally these cars tighten up. The cars will start losing the front end, but right now they're not doing that. They're just getting looser and looser as this race goes on.
Big cluster of cars here. Stephen Wallace right in front of this one of David Reagan. There comes Casey Keene in the 9 car going by. And the 77 car, Bobby Labonte, really has his hands full. He is slowing down drastically, and cars trying to get by him. 3 wide now in the turn.
Bobby's got some kind of problem here. Had to get completely out of the throttle. I don't know if he's got a tire going down or what, but he's trying to get to the pits.
Right front or something.
This is going to be real costly here, making a green flag stop.
Bobby was running in 8th position, former winner here now having to come down under green. He'll lose at least 3 laps here pitting under the green flag at lap 114.
He lost a lot of ground just trying to get to the pits, and then he's going to lose some more in the pits.
Faster than all these guys.
David Rudiman, who did the Toyota testing here for the NASCAR Busch Series cars about a month ago, was very fast on this new concrete. And showing that he learned a lot in the test here and in practice yesterday, as he is the leader here, has led now the last 15 laps.
He's got a big jump on Brad Keselowski, but then after they stabilize here, looks like Brad's able to run within 1/10 of a second of David Rudiman. You can see Brad pulling away from the other guys he was racing earlier.
Brad Keselowski, by the way, driving the 88 car that's owned by Dale Earnhardt Jr. There's Dale Jr., who owns that car. Only the 5th race for Keselowski after he replaced Shane Huffman in the car. Keselowski finished 10th in his 2nd start, and now is trying to get his first top 5 with a good run here tonight. Mike?
Well, guys, believe it or not, you were in the pits today. You were out here. You knew how hot it was. It was close to 100 degrees. Well, believe it or not, all that considered, Brad Keselowski was resistant. He did not want to use the air conditioning unit in his car. He had to be convinced. He said it felt weird. His head was, and there's trouble on the track. We'll pick that up later.
Thanks, Mike. Marcus Ambrose spinning, bringing out caution again here. This is the 5th one of the night.
He's able to keep going. He's got some damage in the rear. Looks like they might be able to beat that out a little bit and keep him going.
Boy, as this race was going on, I'm like, man, I'm starting to get tense here because they're running 3 wide on this racetrack. Let's take a look at this replay. Just gets up in the side. It looked like the 56 car.
Danny O'Quinn was on the outside, and you see the heavy damage there.
That's a typical Bristol crash right there. Just running out of room coming off turn 2 or turn 4. Track really narrows up and got to have just a little extra room. It's like Ambrose just ran out of room.
And Marcus needed to let the front end come out on that car to make a better exit off that corner. And when you got a car laying against the side of you, Andy, you pull it down and you get really loose like that.
Oh, there's a problem right there. That's a broken wheel, and you would think that would be from a loose wheel, but those lug nuts were not loose. It doesn't look like to me. It looks like that wheel just failed right there, just a fatigue crack.
That explains why Bobby Labonte abruptly slowed from his 8th position and had to make the unscheduled stop a moment ago. The High-Bank Bristol Motor Speedway, no, it doesn't play favorites. Yeah, there have been 35 different winners here, but dating back to the fall of 2003, there have been 8 different winners. Michael Waltrip won. How about Martin Truex Jr. celebrating? Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the fall of 2004. Kevin Harvick, the 4-time winner here, won in the spring a couple of years ago. Ryan Newman won in August of 05. Last year, Kyle Busch won it in the spring, sailing around here in the 5-car. Matt Kenseth, who won the doubleheader Busch and Cup last August, and on this past spring, Carl Edwards won it in the spring of 2007 and celebrated with that somersault that is his signature. 10 former winners in tonight's field, and here's where they're running right now. Ryan Newman at the head of that class. He is 5th overall. Kyle Busch looking down. By the way, Morgan Shepherd, the 4-time winner, has already pulled off. They are working on Jeff Burton's car to try to get him back on the racetrack as we get set to go green here. Pace car off the racetrack, and David Ruderman will lead him down to the green flag.
David Ruderman just gets a huge jump on these restarts.
See, every time these caution flags comes out, it lets these guys settle down and figure out what they need to do. They're in the bottom of the track, the middle of the track, and the top. And Andy, they just need time to think for a minute. And these caution flags have helped them do that a lot, because I can tell you, these guys are real nervous about where they need to be running at.
Anxious moments on the restart. You see the 99 car of David Ruderman going by. Keselowski is there. The 38 car of Leffler. There's the 1 car of J.J. Yaley, who just did not come up to power. The car just shut off, and he slowed abruptly.
Yeah, they're talking about it's not the battery. Sometimes that, battery can cause the car to shut off, but they're not thinking that's the problem. Here's second spot being swapped. Jason Leffler. Ooh, little contact.
Toyota being shown in 1st and 2nd position. Ruderman and Leffler. Toyota had 2 finish in the top 10 for the first time this year last week at Michigan. Now, we talked about Bobby Labonte slowing abruptly. With more on that, let's check in with Mike.
Well, Doc, Bobby Labonte could feel a vibration in his right front wheel. He felt like it was coming off, and indeed you can tell why he was feeling that vibration. Take a look at the wheel. Sheared it off in the inner hub portion, right at where the wheel studs hook in there and where the lug nuts go on, and you can see the piece broke right off. This is red hot. You can barely hold on to it. It's so hot, but this wheel was obviously the problem and the reason why Bobby Labonte came down pit road. For more on that, let's go to Tim Brewer in the Dish Tech Center.
Hey, thanks, Mike. We're going to give you a first-hand look right here at this wheel. This wheel right here in the second, it's about 312 thousandths thick. But this area right here, if you have an improper lug that's not tightened properly, it can move around a little bit. But Bobby Labonte, when he felt that vibration, he came on the pit road. He did the wise thing.
Thank you, Tim. Great explanation of how that can break and what happens. Crash on the racetrack. Caution number 6 tonight, coming out on lap 132. The 36 car involved having a spin, having some contact. Brent Sherman.
He's also got a little damage on the rear. Shouldn't cause him much of a problem here.
The 9.
You're going to see more of this, I'm afraid, before the night's over. This is Clint Boyer. He got involved in this. He had to go to the tail end of the longest line for a pit road infraction, and that puts him behind all this stuff. See, the 9 car just gets right into the back of Brent Sherman, turns him around.
Guys, I saw 2 things happen there. It looks like the 36 got loose a little bit, had to check up a little bit, and Casey was already there in the 9 car and just got right in the back of him there, and then started stacking up behind him. You saw Kevin Harvick get a piece of that, but it doesn't look like Kevin's car's hurt. Oh, it is hurt. I didn't see that last one. It's hurt now. That's
okay,
for sure.
maybe it is.
I didn't talk him into that, did I?
All right, from Kevin Harvick's onboard camera, watch the contact between him and the 9 car.
And go high, go high, go high, go high. Woo! Just hit the wall pretty hard, guys.
Yeah, he's got some real damage here on the whole right side, the front wheels. He's probably even been some suspension here with this contact.
David Ruderman headed to pit road, Mike.
And he's extremely happy with his race car, Doc. No complaints whatsoever, which explains why they're making no adjustments. 4 tires and fuel for David Ruderman. They're done on the right side, around to the left side. Seems like a fairly quick stop for Ruderman. He's up on the jack. Tires are on. And still waiting to drop off the jack. A little bit tardy there, but otherwise a good stop.
He's going to have to be fighting these lap cars in this track position, though, because a lot of these guys stayed on the racetrack. A lot of the leaders stayed out. And so he's not going to have the luxury of being out in front like he was earlier.
Jamie Little.
And Kevin Harvick just came over the radio, said it's getting better. He's still just a little loose, but he told his team, be sure to pull those fenders out. Kevin Harvick coming in for the 4th time already in this race, and we're just 135 laps in. He has 2 sets of tires left. You see him beating out the right side. They're pulling those fenders out, changing the right sides only. And for Kevin Harvick, because of his loose condition, guys, he wants his sticker tires. Actually, he just was on sticker tires. He wants that last set of scuffs to help him get optimum grip. Guys?
Yeah, sometimes you can put scuff tires on there and it'll change the way the car handles. If you put stickers on, sometimes it can be loose, and you put scuffs on it, it'll tighten you right up.
Well, one thing I'm concerned about for Kevin, he might have been a ball joint, or maybe the toe in is out on the car, because he hit awful hard. That just wasn't a small brush with the wall, and they need to
go. Let's go.
And Kevin's probably going to tell him my
All right,
steering wheel.
it's going to be okay. You got to work on it again.
Well, the first thing you got to do is get the fenders off the tires and make sure that the tires are not going to rub and blow out.
Well, Kevin's going to know right now if his steering wheel is off. If his steering wheel's not in the right clock position, he knows the toe end's out. And he'll probably be better off to get back down pit road and get that fixed.
Kevin Harvick, defending and 2-time NASCAR Busch Series champion, having his troubles here with a damaged race car in Bristol. Green flag in just a moment.
NASCAR Busch Series in Thunder Valley, just over 100 laps to go in tonight's race, and Jason Leffler is the leader. And we got a couple different strategies going on here, with Leffler and David Ruderman being the 2 guys that were running up front a minute ago in different race schedules. This guy's had a pretty impressive night too. As we watch Ruderman back here, he restarted 18th a minute ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking at Brad Keselowski. He has done a great job. I talked to him earlier today. He's walking around with a long-sleeve shirt on in 100-degree heat. He's a tough young man, and he's running tough right now.
And Leffler and Ruderman appearing to have 2 of the faster cars, but being on different pit schedules, and the caution flag is out. Kelly Byers got some troubles. And yellow number 8.
Straight ahead. You know you can.
We saw Kelly Byers earlier with a right front tire.
The leader's right behind you.
Or actually, it was the left front tire smoking really heavily. He was running, and actually, no, it was the right front tire. Looks like he's got damage to the left side this time.
You know, one of the things you and I were laughing about earlier before the race started was when we were discussing the changes to the racetrack. Would it change the nature of the racing? Would it be any kind of a reduction in the number of caution flags we see?
A resounding no.
No would be the answer to that one, definitely.
Resounding.
Doc?
Let's take a look at what happened to Kelly Byers there in the corner, bringing out caution number 8 right up across the racetrack, guys.
Looks like he just got loose again, like we've been seeing all night long with a lot of cars. Just lost it all by himself and spun the car. But Andy, I was talking earlier, these cars aren't tightening up. They're all loose out here, and that's the biggest thing I'm seeing.
Caution flags are not unusual at Bristol, but one thing we're seeing tonight is that these caution flags and these spins are not from contact like we normally see here. These are just single car spin.
It's like they can get in the corner so deep. They really sail them down into turn 1 and get them down into turn 3 with so much speed. And when the car sets in the center, it just slides out and they lose it. And that's what I'm noticing about the looseness. It looks like the deepest you can drive, the guys just can't hand them.
Less than 100 laps to go. Question is, how long will these guys up front wait before they make what should be their final stop? We'll answer that and more when we come back. Crowd of over 110,000 on hand for NASCAR Busch Series action at Bristol Motor Speedway. Thunder Valley, we are under yellow for the 8th time tonight. This one involving a spin by the 47 car, Kelly Byers. Here's a couple of guys up front that had to come on the pit road. 88 pitting on the backstretch. That's Brad Keselowski. The 26, Jamie McMurray, has to come all the way around at 30 miles an hour to pit on the front straightaway.
And if everything works out right, these guys will come out together, believe it or not. But if they have the same pit stop times, that's the way the NASCAR has designed this pit road, is to make it even for these guys that pit on the backstretch and on the front stretch.
For more information on pit stops, log on to ESPN.com. Search word know-how. Remember, you do have to come in under yellow off of turn 2 and come all the way around pit road. For more on the 26 pit stop, let's check in with Dave.
And of course, they waited a long time to do this, knew they would be in the back of the pack, but crew chief Chad Norris decided that the car was good enough and running well enough on the outside and passing cars, like you guys have been talking about all night, to wait till late to put on tires. Give Jamie fresh tires till the end. They lowered the air pressure in the left side tires to give him hopefully a little more grip as he does that.
Thanks, Dave. Back to green flag racing. The guys who pitted should be able to make it. Most of these guys can make it. A few cannot. We'll update the pit strategy here momentarily. Jason Leffler setting sail. 93 laps to go here at Bristol, Tennessee.
What's really going to make it interesting is you're going to have a lot of guys up front on different tire strategies, and you're going to have, some guys that have a lot of laps on their tires, some with fresh tires. It's going to make it real interesting at the end.
Well, the new tires looked like they were really fast for about 15 laps, and they level off, and I don't see the big gain. I don't see a big gain out of new tires at that point, Andy. It looks like they jet out there, then they slow up, and they're the same as everybody else. So with that on everybody's mind, just staying out as long as you can for the track position is probably a real smart thing to do.
It does make sense for the track position for sure, and it keeps you out of these wrecks. If you have see all these wrecks that are happening, it keeps most of these guys will be in front of that if you're up front.
Let's check in with Jamie Little on what's happening with the front two cars.
Well, guys, the tire wear for Jason Leffler, your leader, has been very minimal. His last stop was lap 78. Right now, Todd Losey, his crew chief, says they are good to go to the end. Those caution flags waving actually helped them a lot conserve fuel. So right now they said they're right at the limit to make it to the end. Right behind him, Ryan Newman, his car is good. It finally came around. He said he is good to go to the end as well.
Third place car behind those two Jamie was just talking about is a 22 car right there. That is Mike Bliss having a great run in the Dodge. Now all three of those cars, first, second, and third, all pitted on lap 78.
And that's going to make it really close for these guys on fuel to be able to make it. With all these caution flag laps, it really helps those guys stretch it out. But it's going to be, I don't know if their tires are going to be all that good at the end. When you start putting that many laps on these tires, we still don't know how they're going to perform.
I'm pretty well convinced they can make it on fuel with all these caution laps, but you hit the nail on the head right there. Are they going to have the grip they need to have? And it looks like a lot of the guys that stayed out for a long time don't have that grip, and they're getting outrun right now.
Battle for fifth, sixth, and seventh. By the way, the 21 car, you see the left side of your screen, Scott Wimmer. He was a lap down and got the lucky dog. Now being shown in fifth position. The 6 car, David Reagan, behind him in 6th, and the 37 is Biffle in 7th spot.
A lot of times you get down a lap early here and make it up, and then you can be one of the best cars at the end. And we're seeing that right here with the 21 car. That's why you never give up on these short tracks.
See David Reagan working the bottom side right behind Wimmer. And that's hard to get used to Wimmer driving that 21 car. I always see him in the 29 car. And now I'm watching him drive the car that Kevin Harvick normally drives, which he's won at a lot this year. And so a different look for us.
See the back end of the car wiggle a little bit coming off the corner. It's probably a little bit loose.
David Reagan getting on the inside. A rub. What did Harry Hogg say in Days of Thunder? Rubbing is racing, cold trickle. That's what's happening at Bristol right now. Rubbing and racing. The 6 and the 21.
Yeah, you can see that Goodyear is gone off the left front tire of the 21 car, and maybe he's got a little bit of a tire rub.
Well, rubbing's racing as long as you don't crash. If that happens, you just defeated the whole purpose.
Now, in the old days, you probably would have crashed, but with so much room to race in the new service, these guys made the pass and made it look pretty simple.
You're exactly right. And the drivers I've talked to said this racetrack feels so wide. Talking to Jeff Gordon earlier, and he said, Rusty, this racetrack drives completely different. It feels different, and you're not so tense driving this racetrack. It just feels wider.
David Rudeman, who was the leader, made that pit stop, now working his way back up toward the front. That's the 77 car. That's the lap car of Bobby Labonte, 3 laps down, trying to get back up to the 21 car of Wimmer in 6th position. There's Wimmer right in front of Bobby Labonte.
And David Rudeman was the leader, and when he restarted after making his pit stop, he was 18th on the racetrack. Now he's moved all the way up into the top 10.
Well, heavy contact. Marcus Ambrose spun and gets tagged by the 28 car.
Well, that's the second big impact we've seen over there in turn 2. One was in practice with Reed Sorensen.
Now, these guys have pitted earlier who are concerned about fuel mileage. These cautions just keep helping them. I believe there's a lot of guys that are probably going to stay out because they know these wrecks are going to happen, and this track position is real important right now.
Show you the replay. Both drivers are being talked to by the safety crews, and now that fluid across the racetrack is going to require some cleanup.
Well, the good part about that is it's down on the apron out of the way, so shouldn't be too much of an issue for the guys on the racetrack. You see, here we go. Marcus Ambrose just gets loose, getting in the corner. Car turns around. He already had some damage from an earlier spin.
It looked like he was already really loose before that with that right rear quarter panel damage. Didn't have the downforce he needed. But again, we're seeing all these loose conditions getting at the corner. They get at the corner so deep and they just lose it. It just like sucks them in. It's a false feeling.
Oh, that is one hard impact as Ambrose came down across, and I guess Richardson was trying not to go high with other traffic and trying to get on the inside.
And even with all the safety equipment we have, it does keep these drivers from getting serious injury, but that's got to hurt, Rusty.
Oh, it does hurt. I mean, when you ring your bell like that, NASCAR makes everybody go to the care center to get checked out because safety is number one. There's been a lot of accidents that happen. You feel good, and then you get home, and Jerry, as a doctor, you know that kicks in later on.
Marcus Ambrose almost got injured just trying to get to the ambulance, slipping on some of the fluid over there. He is out of the car, seems to be okay. Robert Richardson told me, he said, I took a lot of licks as an SMU quarterback in college, but nothing like I've taken in a stock car. That one had to be awfully hard here in Bristol. Under caution for the 9th time tonight, an impact up in turn 2. Marcus Ambrose and Robert Richardson back with a restart after cleanup in just a moment.
This ESPN telecast of the NASCAR Busch Series is available in high definition on ESPN2 HD, presented by Vizio. We have gone under the red flag here at Bristol with 77 laps to go. Big mess down on the apron in turn 2, needing to be cleaned up. You see all the safety crews there with all that fluid that not only the race cars dropped, but Marcus Ambrose almost slipped in.
Yeah, he got a little loose. He got a little loose in the corner there trying to get to the ambulance.
So that the entrance to pit road as well. So the field is parked on the racetrack, and we go under the red flag with 173 of 250 laps completed. Back and take a look at what happened that put out the caution for the 9th time in this race. Ambrose in the 59.
Looks like he just went down the corner, and we've seen loose conditions all night long, which is really interesting. But he just backs it up the track, and nowhere to go for Richardson. Here he comes and just bolos him right in the driver side, right side. That was a heck of a lick right there.
Wow. So you want to be a race car driver, huh?
Boy, that's going to hurt tomorrow.
Check this out.
Oh. Wow. Just a ton of impact.
See all the bits and pieces of metal scattering off of Ambrose's car while it spun around like a top, all that, plus the fluid coming out of the Richardson car, and that is why we are under the red flag here in Bristol. So Jason Leffler is the race leader, and what we've got going on now as we set up these final 77 laps of the race are guys on different pit strategies and different tire schedules. We'll talk about that with Andy and Rusty as we get ready to go back racing. But first, not a bad time to check with our in-race reporter, huh, Rusty?
Rusty Wallace, ESPN, you got us, Dale?
Yeah, I got you, Rusty. Go ahead.
What are you noticing about the racetrack? Do you have 3 distinct lines out there, and what's your car feeling like?
Well, we've been kind of back and forth. I was a little too loose at the beginning of the race, and we adjusted on it. And this seemed, which is unusual for Bristol, but I got looser as I ran on. And so we tightened it up with the track bar the last time. And now I've got it probably a little bit too tight until the tires get warmed up. So, yeah, the racetrack is great. You see cars running bottom, middle, and top. And it's really great. Jason Leffler looks like he's really got his hooked up.
Dale, it just appears from up here looking down, watching everybody, that this racetrack, everybody doesn't look on edge. It looks like they're making moves, and they're not afraid to pit because there's more area out there to pass on. Does it feel that way to you?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Rusty. It's a whole different scenario here, a different racetrack, and you can play different strategies now because you can make your way back up through. If your car's good, you can make passes on the high side and on the low side. It's a little more difficult on the low side if a guy gets you pinched down a little bit, but you still do have room there to do that. So these people are to be really be commended for making a better racetrack out of this.
Dale, you believe the night's race is going to help you for tomorrow's race?
I hope so. We weren't very good in the final practice with our UPS Toyota Nextel Cup side. So there's some things that I'm seeing here and learning, and hopefully that will help us. And you know, anytime you get in a race car, you feel like you learned something.
Well, we got a camera on your car right now, Dale. It looks pretty clean, so go ahead and bring it home that way. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks a lot, Rick.
Hey, Randy Goss, Andy Petrie, you got a copy?
Got you, Andy.
Hey, Randy, we're looking at these guys up front. When we see some of them with as much as 50 laps, different tires, I mean, how do you see that affecting these cars at the end of the race? Is there a lot to be gained with new tires or having fresher tires, you think, at the end of this?
I think for sure you'd like the fresh tires, but heck, the fastest guys, Leffler and Rudeman and those guys have been fast no matter how old their tires are. So I don't know. Obviously, you like the good tires, but you need a track position. So.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out how this is going to play out at the end because there's definitely a lot of different strategies being played out.
Yeah, 10-4. We're just hoping to get us the lucky dog here next time and salvage us a good finish here. So we started off, like Dale said, a little bit loose. I didn't get the car good enough for him, but he's running with the top guys right now.
Yeah, we're just talking about it, these short tracks like Bristol. You never give up because it's not over till it's over. You guys just keep on digging.
10-4, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Randy.
Dale Jarrett currently in 29th. He would be the next car to get a lucky dog, the three-time Daytona 500 winner and 1999 NASCAR Nextel Cup champion. Has 32 career wins in the Cup and, of course, 11 career NASCAR Busch Series wins, including the August race, this race here, back in 1991. Coming out of semi-NASCAR Busch Series retirement to run the NASCAR Busch Series event tonight in his UPS Centennial Toyota. Hoping to get that lucky dog and get back up toward the front and get a top 15 finish. Under red flag at Bristol Motor Speedway while cleanup continues off of turn 2. After 9 caution flags, still 77 laps to go, and Jason Leffler is the leader.
They may have changed the shape of the corners and widened the track just a touch, but they haven't changed the degree of difficulty of old Bristol Motor Speedway. The red flag just withdrawn. We are back under the caution, the 9th yellow flag of this race. Now with 76 laps to go, let's check on pit road. Dave?
And actually just outside the medical center where Marcus Ambrose and Robert Richardson have walked out seemingly okay. You okay, mate?
Yeah, no dramas. You know, I just feel bad for Kingston and everyone out there. You know, got some damage early on there, just trying to hold on to get the lucky dog. And up high on the marbles and wasn't good enough to save it, you know, and the rest is history.
Everybody's talking about how fun this racetrack is to race and how much better it is. Would you care to differ?
Well, if it handles well, it's pretty good. You know, we had a pretty good car early on, and I kind of lost my way a little bit there, and you know, just got caught up in a mess and got some damage. From then on in, we're just trying to hold on.
Robert, you came careening into Marcos. You okay?
No, absolutely. It's just unfortunate for the Checkers Rally Chevrolet. We had the car starting to come into us there. The last part of the race is just unfortunate. I had Matt Kenseth underneath me there when that happened. I just didn't get cleared in time. Marcos was there, and there's really nowhere for me to go. But it's just unfortunate for everybody at J. Robinson Racing. We'll just come back here next year and hopefully accomplish more than what we did tonight.
Tough night for these guys, Alan. Typical Bristol.
Yeah, beat up a lot of race cars.
Oh, man, absolutely. Hard on equipment.
Glad to see the drivers are okay. So, here comes Jason Leffler, the leader, down pit road, Mike.
And Mike Bliss is on pit road with a very good race car, hoping to hold on to this top 5 finish and perhaps contend for the win. Team is done on the right side. They swing around to the left side, a 4-tire change. No adjustments for Mike Bliss, just fuel and tires. And they're down off the jack. Jack's still up, down off the jack and away.
Jason Leffler opting to come in and make this pit stop. He had not pitted since lap 78. Guys behind him had fresher tires. He had no choice. Headed to you, Jamie Little.
That's right, Doc. Just about 100 laps, just short of it on these tires. And Todd Losey, crew chief, told me his times just started to fall off right before that caution flag. So right now was the time to pit. The car they're watching, though, behind them is the car of David Rudeman. It's going to be 4 tires and no changes for Jason Leffler, the man who's dominated here tonight at Bristol, and he's away.
David Rudeman, who had 54-lap fresher tires. He was the leader when he made his pit stop and came on the pit road on lap 135. And he has made his way from 18th spot all the way up to 7th position. Could this be the night that David Rudeman breaks into the win column in the Toyota? We'll find out when we come back. Back at Bristol Motor Speedway under green, the 12 car, Brian Newman is the leader. Now, he has not pitted since lap 78. Got to wonder what kind of strategy they're playing out there. Behind him, the 6 car of David Reagan, the 21 of Wimmer, and here comes Rudeman, the 99 car, who made his stop and was one of the leaders, now being shown all the way up in 4th position.
Jerry, one good thing about Ryan Newman up there leading the race right now, he's got the track position. He's not back in the pack where he's got to struggle and race these guys. Even if his tires aren't as good, he's still making good lap times. He's nobody in his way. And this last time by, he just had the fastest car on the racetrack. Jamie?
Well, if anybody knows how to get around this track, Rusty, it's Ryan Newman. In 5 starts, he has not finished outside the top 10. He just came over the radio and told his crew chief, Matt Gimbel, right before the green, he said, I'm going to give it all I can. Unless that 38 gets in traffic, though, he said the 38 is going to be the toughest to get around. So right now, they're just holding on for luck. As you said, Doc, he stayed out. He has not pitted since lap 80. That's 100 laps on these 4 tires.
I just have to wonder if these, if the tires are going to have that kind of speed at the end of the race, if he tries to run these to the end.
Well, I believe he's committed right now. He's got to stay out. He knows the car is going to make it on fuel with so many cautions they've had, which enabled him to get there. So, if I was a driver and it's 60 laps to go, I'd say I'm not coming in. There's no way I can make it back to the front and give up this lead right now.
Battle for 3rd position now. Rudeman trying to get inside of Wimmer and can't get the car to turn in the corner.
See that upper groove still working really good for Scott Wimmer here. He's not able to, Dave Rudeman's not able to get him cleared. Even it looks like the 99 car is a little bit better than the 21.
See, Wimmer just keeps working the bottom of the racetrack, putting that right front fender under the left rear quarter panel of Wimmer and trying to get it run. And it looks like it's working right now for him. If he can pick the throttle up a little earlier in the center and race him off, he should be able to clear him, and he does right there.
We are being told the 22 car of Mike Bliss, who was running 3rd a moment ago prior to that caution and an eventual red flag, and he made his pit stop, has been penalized for a pit road violation.
And that hurts big time. If you get a pit road violation and you got to go to the back of the pack, man, it just ruins your day. Not only does it ruin your day, it makes you mad too, because you don't think you're speeding on pit road, but hey, you're the one that's got the wheel and you're working the gas and the brakes, so obviously you made the problem.
All the way back to 23rd position now from running 3rd here, just making that final pit stop, hoping to be a factor here for another top 5 finish.
See Kyle Busch right up ahead of these guys. He's working up on the outside. He's not able to really move his way back up to the front like we saw him earlier.
The 5 car had a commitment line penalty. Talking about Kyle Busch here. Let's show you what we're talking about now with regard to the commitment line coming on to pit road.
There's a commitment line right there. You see these guys pitting. There's the one right here. They have to be below that when they come in to the pit area. And you see, it looks to me like Kyle Busch really actually went around that commitment line.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, because it looks like he did everything right at that particular point. He didn't commit and then go back in the track. Before he got to it, he went back in the track, so we'll have to investigate that a little bit more. But this is a setback for Kyle, because he's worked himself all the way up to the 4th position right before this last caution flag after pitting, and now he's got himself marred back in the 21st position. Now he just moved into 20th position, so he's got some ground to go, but he's only got 57 laps left to do it in.
I think there's maybe a little different. We have to kind of correct ourselves. I think maybe that commitment line is a little bit further around. We may not have pointed right where it is. I think that commitment line might be earlier on the apron of the track there in 1 and 2.
And the rule is if you cross the commitment line and come back up on the racetrack, you will be penalized, and that's indeed what they did for the 5 car. 6 car of David Reagan now has been passed by Rudeman, who is now in 2nd position and sets his sights on Ryan Newman. Here is the 5 team. That is Kyle Busch's team discussing with NASCAR on exactly what happened a moment ago with that commitment line penalty. Obviously, they see it a little bit differently. They're discussing it with the NASCAR official.
Well, they may be seeing it like we saw it, and if that commitment line is where we think it was, then he was definitely good. So, may have an argument.
Laps winding down. Can Ryan Newman hang on, or can Rudeman get there in the final 53 laps?
See, now that's a commitment violation. But it didn't matter at this point.
Nothing wrong with the car. Yeah, there is.
Back at Bristol Motor Speedway, caution for the 10th time today. The 66 car of Stephen Wallace involved in an incident as they were battling for 17th position. He and Bobby Hamilton Jr. going in the corner. There's the damage, the cut left front tire on the 66, which looked to have a chance to get a top 15 finish.
Well, he's got some more damage now with that right front fender. Whether the toe end's knocked out, let's take a look at this. Bobby just drives up in the back of him, spins him out. And close racing here at Bristol, Tennessee, but looks like Stephen had a clear racetrack there, and Bobby just got a little anxious.
Couldn't have been much of a tap there. They didn't look like they made big impact there.
Different angle. Watch at him coming at you.
Yeah. Doesn't take much when you're going.
Stephen almost had it cleared. He went all the way down the back to the front straightaway there. It almost missed the wall, but didn't. It just got the right front fender.
The 5 car now is on pit road, the car that had been called in for that pit violation. Mike?
And as you might expect, Doc, Kyle Busch not happy at all about the violation and the penalty that came. Still, they're on pit road trying to make that car better. A 4-tire change. They'll also raise the track bar, trying to make up some ground on the racetrack. They're away.
5 car leaving pit road. Now, we showed you a moment ago that the 5 car had come on because of a pit violation, a pit commitment cone violation. When we showed the replay, now watch the 5 car coming down. That yellow stripe in the cone is where you have to be across or you can't go back on the racetrack. He was not there, and now NASCAR has said it was a bad call. The official who called it in, it was a bad call, so they will talk to the team following the race and discuss what the mistake that they made on that pit commitment cone violation for the 5 car.
Well, how do you fix something like that? I mean, the guy feels like he's got a good car, maybe a shot to win it, and now you got to come down pit road and say, hey, I was sorry, it was a bad call. So things like that happen. Unfortunately, they're getting a bad end of the deal on that particular one.
Back with a restart, 42 laps to go in a moment. Back at Bristol, Tennessee, get green just a second ago, and the 12 car pulled away, the 99 in chase, and now we are under yellow yet once again. This makes the 11th caution flag tonight. Brian Vickers involved in this latest contact.
Yeah, it looks like here he's just 10 cars holding the 5 up just a little bit right here, and it looks like Kyle Busch moves right underneath.
Well, Kyle's on the throttle. He's just a little bit impatient right now. And it looks as though that when the 10 car got in the back of him, that he might have cut the right front fender down, or fender might have got in the tire and blew the right front tire out after that bump he just had, and it got him in the wall. He brushed the wall, got him in the back. Oh, and it locks the front end down and shoves him up the racetrack and into the wall.
Looks like these guys are just kind of arguing over the space coming off the corner right there.
Well, Kyle got penalized. He got put in the back. He's mad. He's got fresh tires, and he's bulldozing through the front. I'd be doing the same thing, and it's just it's working for him, but it didn't work for the 10 car.
The 5 car now obviously frustrated about what happened with the penalty, which NASCAR now has said they made a mistake on. Let's check in and see what the crew thinks about what happened to him here about 15 laps ago. Mike?
And as you mentioned, Doc, long discussions between the 5 team and NASCAR regarding the penalty. Alan Gustafson has an opinion on it. What is it?
Well, I mean, it's just unfortunate for this hotshot Chevrolet Monte Carlo. You know, all the guys did a really good job on this car, and pitch strategy had cycled out the way we wanted it to. You know, got the track position back and had a little tire advantage on the 12. And, you know, Kyle threw a little juke on whoever was behind him and missed the commitment line clearly by 4 or 5 feet. And evidently somebody didn't see it that way. It's unfortunate for all these guys who worked real hard. You know, they didn't deserve that. They deserved a shot to race for the win, but just get what we can here.
What did NASCAR tell you regarding the penalty?
It was just a commitment line infraction. If any part of your left side tires touch that yellow square box down there, you're committed to coming to pit road. And you know, by the tape you can see we weren't touching those. Our left side never touched the box, but somebody thought they did.
I don't know if you've gotten the word, but they've acknowledged that they may have made a mistake. Have they told you that? And is it any consolation?
No, you know, no. I mean, nobody's perfect. I understand. You know, a lot's going on, and their spotter may not have saw it correctly. I just wish we could have looked at the tape because it's going to take a win away from these guys.
Guys, a lot of disappointment down here in the 5 camp. They knew they had a tremendous race car this evening.
Anybody can make a mistake, but for some reason this racetrack's had that problem. We had the same problem in the spring right there in turn 2, and it was about the light, I think, the last time, and this time it's about the commitment cone, so they got a little problem over here.
Lucky Dog goes to the 44 car. Dale Jarrett has been, this car's gotten better and better, and he's raced his way back, and now he is back on the lead lap, and Dale Jarrett being shown in 26th position. There are 27 cars in the lead lap, and the green flag waves once again from Kevin Moss. 32 laps to go as they come by this time. Ryan Newman trying to hang on. Whoa, across the racetrack is Bliss.
Looks like the 18 car got into the 22 there. Brad Coleman.
You can tell a lot of these guys who stayed out in the tires are slipping and sliding all over the racetrack right now. They don't have the grip they'd like to have. And the restarts are tough too, Andy. These tires are hard. They're losing their temperature in the tires. On these restarts, they really fight getting going again.
I can't believe how good that 12 car can get going as many laps as he has on his tires. He's able to get away from these guys. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, and if he makes it all the way, he will run 172 laps on those tires. That's a great effort for the 12 car.
And it's working for him right now, Jerry, because he's up front. He's got the clean air. He doesn't have to battle anybody. I'll guarantee if he was back in the pack, he'd be having problems.
I see somebody coming here, though. This 9 car looks like he's making a charge. He's working on Ruderman in this 99. Casey Kane's working on David Ruderman.
Casey Kane trying to pull off the doubleheader. Remember, last year it was Matt Kenseth who won the Busch race and the Cup race. And by the way, Casey Kane is our pole sitter for tomorrow night's event here. 500 laps of NASCAR Nextel Cup action. He won the pole earlier this year at Las Vegas, setting a new track record there, driving for Ray Evernham, and he won the pole again and will lead him down here on Saturday night.
The tire strategy between the 9 car of Casey Kane and David Ruderman looks to be the same. So they're out there in the same amount of tires, but Casey's car right now late in this run is starting to work a little bit better. And we all know that Casey Kane loves to run the high lane at all the racetracks, and he is already committed to that. And he's getting a lot of run up off the corners right now by doing that.
And he's got just a few laps to get it done. There's 26 laps to go, and that goes fast here at Bristol. You can see that 12 car, that blue car up ahead of these guys. That's who they're chasing. A little bit of contact.
There was not much real estate on the exit of that corner. It looks like Casey barely scraped that wall, but got away from it. Got away with that. Now he clears Ruderman getting down into the corner. And he's clearly got the fastest car in the field right now. Does he have enough time to catch Newman? If we go caution free, he does.
38 car of Jason Leffler, who was a major factor early on and led 82 laps. Now starting to try to run him down, but he's running out of laps, guys.
He is the fastest car on the board. We're watching these lap times, and he is the fastest car, but I don't know if he's got enough time to get by all these guys. Here we got Bobby Labonte working on the outside of the 12 car, Ryan Newman.
What a 38 car Jason Leffler, he has made up a lot of ground in those last couple laps. He's got those good tires in that car, and he's peeling right around the bottom of the racetrack, and he definitely is the fastest car at this moment.
Laps winding down. Leffler has the freshest tires. Casey Kane is on the move. Can he get win number 2 in the Busch Series here in 2007? We'll find out in just a moment. We come back to great racing here in the final laps at Bristol, Tennessee. 12 laps to go. The front 4 cars are all together. Newman the leader. Here comes Casey Kane in second spot. Leffler now has gone by the 99 for third, and Ruderman trying to hang on. Hopefully he can get something going here in the final 12 laps. Great typical Bristol finish.
And Leffler's got some fresher tires in that car. He's working the bottom of the track right now. Just about the time we thought that Casey Kane was going to get past Ryan Newman, now it's swapped back to Jason Leffler. He's taking the short way around the racetrack, working the bottom, because he knows Kane is stuck to the top and he can't get nothing done there. Jamie?
Guys, Ryan Newman has about 160 laps on those tires. How he's hanging on, I don't know. I think he's surprising his team. Meanwhile, Jason Leffler making the move on the inside of the 12. He's been asking for 15 laps. Do I have time? His team said, man, you have the best tires. You have the time. Be patient. This win is yours.
They go high above him. It looks like the 9 car opted to go up to the outside. Can they get the car to stick way up there? They push and rub, and Casey Kane just gets off the corner 3 wide. What a great pass by Casey Kane.
And Newman got loose. Now he's got a tire down on the 12 car. Sparks are pouring out from underneath the car. He's lost the left front tire because of contact. We saw the sparks fly out, and now his day is over.
Ryan Newman, who had milked those tires for 165 laps and now 7 laps to go. The question is, can Kane hold off the fresher tires of the 38 of Leffler?
It's going to be tough because Leffler's tires are really good right now. He's had a fast race car, and he's up underneath Casey Kane right here.
One of the problems I see with these guys staying out a long time with the tires, Andy, is that they're getting yourself in trouble. They're overdriving the cars because they're out of tires. And you see Leffler just looking really smooth. You saw Kane in the side of Newman. All this stuff going on. And now he gets loose up off of 4.
It's so hard to get them cleared on the bottom. That's just,
to go.
Here late in the race, this upper lane has been the preferred groove.
And Casey's got the top lane really working right now.
Guys, don't look now. The back right side of the screen, the 5 cars all the way back up to 4th position. He restarted 26th on lap 211, and Kyle Busch is a man on a mission, but 4 laps to go. It's going to be among these 3 guys here to settle it at the checkered flag. Here's the 99 car. Look underneath. It is a Dodge in the 9, and then 2 Toyotas. Leffler, who was the pole sitter, trying to get there, but Kane holds that middle group.
This thing's going to be a side-by-side race right to the very end. Leffler needs to just gather his like you see in a lot of speedways. And look how much ground he pulls out. Leffler spins.
Casey Kane gets the win. Contact.
And hit nothing. You're good. Let it roll down the hill a little bit.
Casey Kane holds on for the victory at Bristol. Leffler finishes second, but there's contact right at the line between Leffler and Rudeman.
Driving, dude. That was awesome.
Doesn't get any better than that right there.
Well, if you're going to spin out the last lap, going across the line backwards and still get in second place, that's how you got to do it.
All 4 fenders knocked in, all the while the letters rubbed off the tires.
Moral of the story for tomorrow, you can race anywhere, and 4 tires are better than old tires, I think. I know he won, but he was about to get outrun.
Talk about history repeating itself. Last August, it was Matt Kenseth who won the Busch race and went on to win the Nextel Cup race the next night. Casey Kane becomes the 36th different winner in NASCAR Busch competition at Bristol Motor Speedway, and he'll be the guy who will lead them down from the pole for 500 laps tomorrow night.
Well, you see some cool burnouts, but I've never seen one in the middle of the track before. In the middle of the corner, that's something.
You see how much banking there is at this track. He's going backwards while he's burning the tires.
Let's take you back 8 laps to go. Here's the pass coming off turn 4, the contact between Newman and Kane.
And Casey Kane was just... He kept fighting and fighting until he got it.
And right there, that's where he lost the tire in the right rear tire of a 38 car, Jason Leffler. You see the tire getting ready to go down. There it goes, up into the wall, and his day was over then.
We apologize to those of you watching. We had a satellite feed issue, and we're going to give you the last 2 laps here once again. Final 2 laps. Great finish here. The 9 car of Casey Kane trying to hold off the 38 of Leffler and the 99 of Rudeman.
And Casey Kane working the top groove, never giving up at all. He committed to the top of the racetrack. Leffler's got fresher tires, trying to make it work on the bottom. And Kane gets that big run off the corner and just pulls away from him right there.
And here he is, Leffler just giving it all he's got here off the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get up underneath. Can't make the pass.
And still going for it. He hasn't quit. He's on the bottom, still digging. He's got 1 more corner to go. Can he get it done? Rudeman's right on his tail. He gets him loose right there. Gets him a little bit arrow loose. He picks it up, runs out of room, and gets hit in the back from Rudeman. The 38 Leffler misses the wall and still finishes second backwards across the line. Heck of a race.
Jason Leffler finishing second backwards now from the 99 onboard camera.
These guys are just going for the checker flag. See, he gets in the throttle hard and just can't make the pass. Gets a tap from Rudeman.
And you saw Rudeman, you never lifted on that throttle. He stayed in that throttle. Just drove right through him. But what about the 5 car? Something else. Jamie.
Well, we're down here with Mike Shiflett, the crew chief for Casey Kane, and of course, Ray Evernham, the owner here. I know you guys had a good car and you knew it, but talk about those last laps and what that meant. And did you know you had the car to stick it out and bring her home?
The Ragu Dodge was unbelievable tonight. I mean, I've never seen Casey's just did an awesome job on the outside, just passing people. Car started a little bit tight. We just freed it up a little bit for him, and he did all the rest. He's just an unbelievable driver to pass like that.
The struggles this year, Ray, this is the first win, I think, officially for Gillette Evernham Motorsports. What does this mean for you and your guys and what you guys have been through?
Well, it's, you know, these guys do a great job. This is Mike's first year as a crew chief, and he's doing a great job. But happy for Dodge and Ragu and everybody. And George is somewhere fishing in Russia, I think, so happy for him, too. But, man, Casey drove his butt off, and these guys did an awesome job.
Well, let's go to Victory Lane and check in with the man who took it home. Mike?
And Casey Kane sitting in the car ready to get out, trying to rehydrate himself. An awfully warm evening here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. As he gets a drink, wipes his brow, gets up on top of the car, and gets the shower of Busch beer. Victory is in hand for the second time this season for Casey Kane, and believe me, they are going to enjoy this one. It's been a rough year for Casey Kane, but the Busch Series really, it seems to be the place where you've really re-energized, if you will. What does this win mean to you?
It means a ton, man. This is Bristol. It's so hard to win at this place. Watched so many great drivers win here, and feels good. I mean, when Ragu Dodge started, it was great. We kept making changes. I spun out. We had to, you know, we had newer tires than the guys in front of us, and Leffler came on so strong at the end that it was a battle with all three of us. I squeezed through, and then Leffler was there, and he could have spun me, but he just raced clean, and it was a darn good job Leffler did, too. That was pretty fun.
And not only Leffler, but Ryan Newman seemed to have a pretty good race car there, too. Seemed like he had a little bit of contact. What happened?
Well, he had a great car. I couldn't get by him on the bottom, and Jason came, and I was like, this isn't working. I have to do something else. So I went around the outside, and there just wasn't enough room on the backstretch. I got squeezed in the wall, and I thought it was going to hurt my car, but it didn't hurt it bad enough. So, you know, the front's beat up, but it's Bristol. You can still win with a little beat up car.
Well, guys, if there was ever any doubt that we'd see side-by-side racing at the newly reconfigured Bristol Motor Speedway, this race erased all those doubts. Casey Kane in Victory Lane.
Just a preview of what we're going to see tomorrow night for 500 laps of NASCAR Nextel Cup action. 27-year-old Casey Kane, a winner tonight in the NASCAR Busch Series. Back in Bristol, Tennessee, a night of bare knuckles Busch Series racing is history, and what a finish we had here as Casey Kane takes the win. Jason Leffler finishes second. He's standing by with Dave.
And Jason Leffler actually getting congratulations from Ryan Newman's dad, Greg, who's up spotting there tonight. You know, once the 12 was gone, it was an interesting race as well. You trying to get the win here at the end. You pitted for tires lap 176, Jason. Talk about coming back through the pack.
Yeah, I mean, at the time we were worried about leading, and 99 was coming through the field. He pitted earlier, so we thought we were going to be a sitting duck. So Todd Losey and I, we made the call, and it was a great day for everybody at Braun Racing. You know, the Great Clips Toyota was running good, and man, we definitely had a car to beat, and to come second's a little disappointing, but to race Casey and Newman and Rudeman there at the end was a lot of fun.
Those last laps, just trying to hold that low line and get under the 9 car?
Yeah, I mean, my tires were wore out enough where I couldn't quite complete the pass. You know, I could really get them through the center, but I couldn't hold it on exit. Last corner, I throttled flat out through the center, trying to give him a slide job, and it just got loose, you know, and that's what Rudeman, I checked up off of 4, and Rudeman got in the back of me, and that was no big deal, really. So it's a lot of fun, though. It's a good run for everybody at Braun Racing. We're pretty excited.
Keep running well. Pole sitter Jason Leffler, he comes home in the second position tonight. Jamie?
And Kyle Busch ends up 4th tonight, but Kyle, I know the radio communication. Alan Gustafson told you what happened. What was your take on that?
I mean, it was just, you know, a mistake on somebody's part, not sure which. I hadn't seen it, but, you know, I just got to say our Hot Shot Lowe's Monte Carlo SS was awfully good today. We got a little bit tight there through the race, tighter than what we were all day in practice, and you ask anybody, and we had the best car all day long, but just weren't able to show it there. We only made one stop, didn't loosen it up enough, and there, that last stop, we loosened it up a lot more, and we were able to drive through there at the end and put on a good show, hopefully, for the fans here and the fans on TV at home. And, you know, we'll go on to next week and hopefully have a better week and be able to come out number 1.
Kyle, you mentioned if NASCAR would have gone back and looked at the replay, how do you think the outcome would have been?
Well, I mean, if they would have taken the time, they could have went as many caution laps as they wanted to make sure that it was right, and they set the situation straight. But, you know, they took it as the way that that I hit the line, and, you know, didn't want to review it in too much, and we were going green. So I had to go to the back and made sure I got all the way to the back so nobody was upset, and got going.
All right, Kyle Busch can try again to go to Victory Lane tomorrow. He is the defending winner. He won here just a couple months ago. Guys?
Casey Kane celebrating a Victory Lane. Kyle Busch came from 26th on the restart all the way to finish 4th here tonight. Back with more in just a moment. Victory Lane celebration ongoing here at Bristol Motor Speedway. A typical slugfest, stock car style here in the NASCAR Busch Series on the Friday nights. We've heard of Friday night fights. This is Friday night rumble with stock cars, Busch Series style. Casey Kane comes all the way from the back of the pack from 23rd to win it here and led only 10 laps. Let's check in with Mike.
And it's a consolation prize of sorts for Dave Ruderman. He certainly wishes he was around on Saturday night, but unfortunately did not qualify for the Nextel Cup race. But third place here tonight. You made the most of this effort. How would you assess it?
It was fun. It was a blast. I mean, you know, they've done an excellent job, you know, resurfacing this place. And Jerry Baxter and everybody at Michael Walsh Racing came in, a great air and stream machine. And I mean, we just kind of got beat by tires there at the end, and on the 38 car, and you know, Casey had a good car, so we did too. And it was, I mean, man, you know, 3 wide, bouncing each other off the fence. I mean, I definitely think everybody got their money's worth, and I had a blast.
Guys, another top 3 run for Dave Ruderman. Not the best finish of the year, but certainly one to be proud of. Jamie?
Well, another one to be Scott Wimmer. Back in the 20 there in a while, Scott. At one point, you were like 38th. You were a lap down, and you fought all the way back up to 5th. You almost joined the party at the front. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting night. Shane and the guys did a great job. At the beginning of the race, we were way off, and stayed out on tires and really got track position. Our car was pretty good there at the end, and thought I'd have a chance when Newman hit the wall because we all checked up, but all the 5 car got by me. But it was exciting. I think I had 3 weeks off, so it was exciting to get back in the car, and the racetrack was awesome. So I think it's going to be an exciting race tomorrow night, too.
So Bristol's fun, repaved.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I mean, the tire's real hard. If it had a little softer tire, I think we could even put on better racing, but it made for an exciting race tonight.
All right, that's Scott Wimmer, guys. He brings it home 5th.
Scott Wimmer's 6th top 5 finish of the year in only 16 starts in the NASCAR Busch Series, coming back from a lap down. This racetrack, though, we got to talk about how these guys can come back from a lap down, how they can have this kind of battle to the finish side by side, how Kyle Busch can come from 26th to finish 4th. What a great night. Back in just a moment. Our NASCAR Busch Series coverage at Bristol is brought to you by Chevy, the winningest name in racing and American Revolution. By Radio Shack, where we help you do stuff with your back-to-school electronics. And by FreeCreditReport.com. Stay on top of your credit score and credit report at FreeCreditReport.com. What a finish at Bristol Motor Speedway. Casey Kane celebrating his 7th career NASCAR Busch Series win and his very first ever on a short track. Here's our Crown Royal crowning moment. Final laps coming out of turn 4. 3 cars in the battle. The 38 of Leffler trying to get there. The Dodge of Kane up high. Here comes Leffler on the inside, and suddenly we've got a little Toyota tag at the checkered flag.
You got to hand it to Jason Leffler for giving it a shot off turn 4.
It looks like he picked the throttle up and just lost the front end and couldn't make the pass, but around backwards to bring the second, something else.
NASCAR Busch Series points after 26 events. David Ruderman goes back in front of Kevin Harvick and takes over the 2nd position. You see the gains there by Greg Biffle. Marcus Ambrose involved in an incident with about 70 laps to go. Did not finish. He will lose a spot. Mike Wallace rounding out the top 10. Speaking of great runs, how about a career best? Mike is standing by with Brad Keselowski.
And that's a 7th place finish for Brad Keselowski, and it seemed like the car really came to you at the end. What was the turning point?
Oh, we just had an excellent pit stop at about lap 155. Ran real hard and ran the top real hard with Jamie McMurray. Eventually got by him, and just real proud of everybody on the Navy team and JR Motorsports. Had a great Chevrolet Monte Carlo today, and just looking forward to more strong runs like this in the top 10.
You told me recently if you ever got an opportunity like you have right now with Junior Motorsports, the last thing you would want to do is squander it. How do you think you're doing?
This is exactly what I was looking for. To come out of Bristol as top 10, 7th place, and best finish so far of the year and in my career, that's just awesome.
Well, Jamie, he's awfully proud, and why shouldn't he be? His team owner, Dale Jr., was on top of the pit box the entire race with a big smile on his face, too.
Great run for Brad Keselowski. Another great run for Ryan Newman tonight, too. Ryan stretching it on those tires. How hard was it for you to stay out at the end?
I think that Goodyear did a great job picking the tires. Just we were a little misbalanced. We were too tight, and the more I ran, the tighter I got. And Casey was getting good there, and just congratulate him. He raced clean. I tried my best to race him as hard as I could and not take him out. And it kind of took myself out. But I told him in victory lane that was probably the most satisfied I've ever been at losing, because it was just a great race, and hopefully it was great for the fans, and they did a great job with this racetrack.
He did his best to hold that freight train behind him, guys, but he still has a smile on his face. Doc?
Well, that was an incredible deal right there. He laid alongside the 9 car, but he got away with that. The right rear quarter panel, when he touched the 38 left front, that's the one that got him down right now. Got him in trouble. He's lost the left front tire and up in the wall.
And here's a look at our Castrol Syntec Power and Performance pass of the race here. To watch this pass as the 9 car tries to get around the 12, who's hanging on with worn tires.
Casey Kane just forces his way by Ryan Newman and gets the win.
And he commits to the top side of the racetrack, and that's what won him the race.
A night of full contact NASCAR stock car racing at Bristol Motor Speedway, as Casey Kane celebrates his 2nd win of the year, his 7th career win in the NASCAR Busch Series.
All right, Doc, so Friday Night Fights presented by Just for Men coming up next. And don't forget, at 7 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow night, the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series presented by Pennzoil from Bristol on ESPN. After the race we've seen tonight, I can't wait to see the Cup guys go on this half mile tomorrow night. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night from Bristol. Man, I can't wait. What do you think?
Man, I tell you, I am wore out, but I'm going to get some rest, and I'll be sitting here tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It will be fun. Casey Kane on the pole for tomorrow night's race. Juan Pablo Montoya starts on the outside of the front row. The tight fight for spots in the chase. You got some of the front runners where points are concerned starting in the back tomorrow night too, like Denny Hamlin going to start 37th place. That is tomorrow night. Well, they reconfigured the corners here at Bristol Motor Speedway, but we saw all night long, and especially in this last lap, what great racing the track's new design has, and we'll see more of it tomorrow night with the Nextel Cup Series starting at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll look for you then. Thanks for watching.